said, the purpose of this presentation, it is to open a door for you for the Canadian market and basically for the North American market. Even though there are two different markets, once you learn how to identify buyers, how to create export plan, how to develop a market strategy, and to be able to have all your tools ready, you are ready to any market. But this market is a very has a very specific behavior, and I want you to use this presentation. I really want you to open your mind and take notes and learn, because this is a great opportunity for all of you. So as I said, we're going to start with the process of the export process. This is going to help you to any market. This is not only for Canada. These are the steps that it's considered the 10 steps to go to do an export, the export process. Sometimes they happen ideally in line. Sometimes they go all together at the same time, but I would like to highlight that the process takes time. It's minimum 1 year, and we're gonna see that process during this presentation. And tomorrow we're gonna have more hands-on experience on examples, and we're gonna have today, we're gonna have, it is tomorrow actually, we're gonna have a presentation, a little talk with a company about her experience, SME owner, what has been her experience here with the Canadian market. So you can see all here. I'm not gonna go one by one, but I'm gonna start with the highlighting the point that every time that you want to pursue a new market, you need to develop a plan. You need to develop an export plan in this case, and you need to do research about the new market. So the next one, this slide is going to show you that, okay, I decide to go to Canada. I think I'm ready. I think I have the potential to export. I think I have the money, I have the time, I have the human resource to do it. I also have the interest and the product. Let's see how well we are and how much we know. So the stage that we're going to talk about is basically a stage 2 and 3. I'm not going to go to stage 1 because it's going to take us for a long time, and I want to focus on the stage 2 and stage 3, which is let's see, you already did the export potential analysis, you get into the SWOT analysis and the export plan. With some of the SMEs who participate in the project, we did this phase already. This stage was covered already, but since we're not doing that with all of you, we're gonna go to the stage 2, and I want you to check here the amount of time you're gonna be using and spending and investing in trying to get into the market. This is just the beginning. We're gonna talk about stage 2, market research and market strategy, which are the main bridges to reach the Canadian market. Once we understand that, once we have the plan ready, once we already do the market research and understand the market behavior, we're ready for stage 3 to contact the buyers, to complete the sale, to look at the requirements and the transportation and logistics. This is the last one that we're gonna see. Basically today we're gonna focus on the stage 2, and tomorrow we're gonna be focusing on the stage 3 regarding all our hands-on, as I said, and different experience about SMEs. So market research. What is market research? As you can see, every company who wants to achieve a new market has to go to the process to understand the market. Sometimes we said, oh, I do have a beautiful product, it's doing very well here in my country, I am the #1 seller in this product, I do my exports to Poland, I do my exports to Italy, everything is going well, it's time for me to go to North America. Find the right market is not only because you want to or because you would like to, is because you have the knowledge to achieve the market, you have the knowledge to go to the market, to do your adaptation of the product, your mindset. So my first recommendation for you before starting any idea of exporting is to have a good understanding about the Canadian market. It's essential for Ukrainian companies who want to succeed in this market to understand and know the behavior of the market, what are the buyers are looking for, how's the consumer behavior, how's the possibility of presenting my product, how well it will go, what is the price niche, what is my competition. Those little things we never think about it because we think we have the product, we think we have the experience, and we're gonna jump into the market. So I'm gonna give you an example of one of my companies back from South America and specifically Peru. I do have companies coming into Canada that says to me, alpaca is one of my main products. And of course, alpaca is a very elegant and beautiful material for sweaters, for coats, for scarves, hats, gloves, but it's very, very hot. So my assumption, if I said that, is that Canada is a very cold country. We spend mostly 6 months in cold weather, starting from October, November, ended up in, I will say, mid of May. We're still having snow sometimes. So with that assumption, you will say, okay, alpaca, sweaters, Canada, coldest country. So yes, until then. And then we have an agenda with 5 to 10 Peruvian companies who brought the alpaca, and very proud of the product because nobody else in the world had the production that they have with alpaca. And they went into the meetings with the buyers one-on-one, and the buyers said no. Why not to alpaca? They said they were start asking for blends, and that was like kind of an insult for the Peruvians because blends are meaning less quality, less alpaca. What are you talking about? You're a cold country, you should be wearing this. But the buyers explained them, we are a cold country. Yes, we do, we are. But we have heaters everywhere. Heaters everywhere means that we are hot inside the bus, inside the subway, inside the office, inside the home. So everywhere we go, we have heaters. This is a new country. This is not like Europe. In developing heaters, and I was in Kiev, and my experience with the cold in Kiev was super cold. Even though I come from Canada, it was super cold for me because we are in another kind of environment because we do have heaters. So the tendency for the Canadians are to layers, thin layers, to put layers like a thin sweater with a thin underneath, and then the big parka to go out. We never go inside the house with a parka. We never go inside the mall with a parka. We take it off. And so the behavior of the market is very, very different. So the disappointment of the producers from Peru was very big because the behavior of the consumer is different. So the assumption that Canada, because it's a cold country, we need heavy coats, we need very thick sweaters, and a lot of alpaca didn't work. So it took them a year to adapt. It took them a year to blend the alpaca with some synthetic fibers in order to lower the amount of paca to make the sweaters thinner to be suitable for this market. So I wanted to share with you this kind of examples because they're real. It happened last year. It's not like something that you read in a book. It's been a reality that we need to make sure that we understand the market. We understand what the market is looking for, not vice versa. Oh, I do have alpaca, I'm going to put it into Canada. No, it's like, look at the market first, understand the market, come here, look around, see what is the behavior. How come you guys are using so much polyester, but you guys are super cold? Why you're not using too much merino wool? No, because the merino wool has another component, another behavior that the consumer, the regular consumer, is not looking for. So I want to advise and highlight this point with you that we need to do market research. And I will show you how do you do market research. When we progress in the presentation, you will have some ideas how you can make the market research effective. So once you do there's two steps to do research, the primary and the secondary. The primary comes after the secondary. So we're gonna go here and then I go back to this one. Oh, secondary research. The secondary research is the one that we all do sitting on a desk, looking at websites, looking into companies that we like, market reports, survey and statistical analysis, information that we can find in Chamber of Commerce and the development organizations, trade associations, embassies, everything that you do back at home. So that's the secondary research. Basically, you're sitting in your computer and you're looking for Canadian information, everything that you can know about Canada, where it's located, starting from the basic, how big it is. Sometimes people think because this is a big country, we are super big and we are only roughly 35, 36 million people. So it's a very small population. What is the composition of the population? All of that information, you can have it online, you can have it through the project, you can have it through the Chambers of Commerce, through the Embassy of Canada back in Ukraine. There's so much information, especially these times. Nothing is far away from you. Everything is away from a click. So you sit down, you make your team, you set up aside time to just research. This is the secondary research. As you can see here, you have some ideas where you can have information, potential buyers' websites, commercial banks, internet research, online and offline, experience from other people. So everything that you do back at home, sitting in front of a desk, talking to people, connecting with the embassy, connecting with the Chamber of Commerce. So once you have that idea and you taking notes and basically study before, you go back to the primary research, which is the one that you just approach face to face. Now is the time that you said, okay, I'm gonna go to Canada and I'm gonna look into the market. I'm gonna select 2 to 3 cities, the biggest one. It can be Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna see how realistic is my idea of having exporting my products there. And also, once you identify a contact, you can do Skype. It's related to face-to-face interviews, either with a buyer, either with a consumer. I spend most of my time working outside. What I do is I go to the stores. The stores that I know can be very interesting for you. And I just talk to the salespeople with the basic floor, on the floor sales people. What do I talk about? I talk about how do you distribute your merchandise, what is the best-selling article, how many people do you have per month, how your sales going, interacting with the regular people at the store, taking notes, what they put, what is the best selling in front of the store, in back of the store, the colors, the sizes, the composition of the garments. That's the ideal thing to do. And then you can understand the company, and then you can look for the buyer. But the first thing, always first, the basic thing, you laid the basic of the construction. Otherwise, if you start from the top, everything is going to collapse. You need to build a basic, and you need to build the structure of your construction based on knowledge, not in assumptions, not in guessing, not in, oh, I don't know this, I don't know that, or maybe I know this, maybe I don't know, based on the study that you take and the time that you take to know the market. This is the regular behavior. Right now, we are passing through this situation that we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know how many stores are going to be closed. I did some kind of research. I spent time researching how we're going to face all of this, how apparel industry is going to face the challenges and changes. We will talk about that later. Once again, I'm doing my research, sitting on my computer, talking on a webcam with buyers, following up with them about how they feel about this, how they're going to manage this new situation. But in ideal world, in our daily basic, we do need to do research and study about this. So I hope you're taking notes. I hope you are, I know some people are writing. I want to make sure that everybody is having the translation. Olga, is everybody having the translation? I guess so. Let me check here in my, I'm sorry, but when the chat is all in Ukrainian. So, okay, perfect. Developing a Canadian market strategy. Okay, so I already did my research. I already know what is my target. I already know that my products have potential. My products are not alpaca, or yes, they are alpaca, but I already know that in order to achieve the Canadian market, I need to blend my products. I need to blend my production. I need to use some another kind of material. I need to change my sizes because my sizes are too small, and so on. So I'm going to create a strategy. This is another issue. It's not like we're going to Canada. Yeah, no, we need to create a strategy based on reality, based on the knowledge, based on everything that we have learned and the time that we have spent. As you saw before, it is out around 3 months that we do this searching, and then we use our time to develop a Canadian marketing strategy. Why? As I said, while a garment can work very well in Ukraine, it doesn't work sometimes here in Canada. And all my companies can tell you that. All the companies come to the market from everywhere in the world, and they said, my product is going to be selling like popcorn in Canada because it's so good. And we have a very good demand back in our countries, but then you come here and then you see that it's not suitable for the market. Why? Because once again, the market is different. And I give you a very straightforward example with the alpaca. So the Ukrainian company comes to reality and said, so it's going to take time. It's going to take money. So what do I do? So I create the market strategy. The market strategy is based on, once again, on the knowledge. So you can change either the design of the garment, the composition of the fabric, the labeling, the materials, the manufacturing process, the attributes from the product attributes, or a number of things that you can either change easily or not. Product modification may be very minor and easy, but for some other companies, some companies are very costly, and my companies can tell you that. They have to invest in new equipment sometimes, they have to invest in new human resources, they have to hire a manager, they have to hire a specific production person, they have to hire an administrative person who's gonna communicate with the buyer in English. They have to have some investing in new equipment and new people and human resource, as I said, and additional expenses. So there's something that you need to know upfront and said, okay, how big the market is for me, how challenging it is, and how much money, time, and effort do I have really to make this happen. So we need to understand also, very important, that Canada has two different cultures. The English culture, which is like British culture, and the French culture, which is Quebec, and some Ottawa, and some cities around the east side of the world, the country. So regarding that, the culture is different, people is different, taste is different. The French side is more European oriented, more French oriented, more Latin roots oriented. The way they spend time doing a business is pretty different than the British side, the Anglo side, which is more time frame oriented, more straightforward oriented, more simple-ish oriented. But we need to see that once we are here. I can give you all that experience. It's like if I'm going to Ukraine, I remember I did my research before. I talk about weather with Olga. I talk about food with Olga. All the things that I need to know in order for me to be ready with regarding my expectations. It is a big country. It is a small country. How it is, I'm going to go to a big city, a small city. I did all my research on the computer, and then I went there. And something was realistic, and some expectations were down, because the reality is when you face the market and when you go to the market, when you have the time and the money to go to the market. So that is something that I really highlight with you, with everybody, that you need to consider the possibility to participate in an agenda here once you're ready, once you are committed to the market, once you are committed to the changes and the adaptation. You're going to hear me talking about adaptation over and over again, because this is what's going to define your success in the market or not. You have to open your mind, you have to be ready to change, you have to be ready to adapt. Once you develop the market strategy, let's see here, oops. Then you develop the market strategy. You said, okay, I'm gonna go to small boutiques because my product niche is small boutiques. The prices are too high for a regular retail, massive retail. My niche and my strategy is going to be boutiques, or my strategy is going to be big retails because my production is big enough. And you face your local challenges. This is a challenge that I wanted to mention because I want you to keep in mind that this is one of my big findings from the Ukrainian production and apparel. It's the difficulty to get the sourcing material. I find out in my visits and all this year working with Ukraine that you have to import your fabrics from Germany, from Hong Kong, India, Italy, and you are producing your fabrics in the European market. The qualities of the garments are considering very high compared to the quality the Canadian market are looking for. So when I said that, sometimes it's very offensive, because in a country like Ukraine or Italy or France or even Japan, when garments are very well constructed and high quality materials, people buys one coat for many years to use. And Canada and US and the North American market, the behavior is different. People buys one coat every year, maybe two coats, and we put it away next year because next year is going to be another kind of color, it's another kind of design, it's shorter, it's longer, it's lighter, it's darker. So the way people think, the consumer think, is very different. So in your case, the composition of the material is high, and 80% of the garment price is the material. So when you import the material from Italy, from Hong Kong, from Germany, your material is very high quality and is very high price. So when you're gonna face the price from Canada, it's gonna be way too high. So every buyer is gonna tell you, I love your product, I love your fabric, I love the construction of the garment, however, it's too expensive. And you go back home and you do your research and you do your calculation and you try to fix the problem of the price, and you try and you come to me after a while and said, Maria, I cannot do better because my price from my fabrics are my prices are very high. So this is something that we've been talking with the team in Kiev, with the team in Ottawa, with everybody, trying to find a solution regarding your sourcing. You need to be open in sourcing, especially right now, because sourcing is getting difficult, and not everybody's producing, and the prices in Europe regarding sources are very high. So we need to, again, adapt and create a strategy to find the source that is going to be suitable for this market with the price that the market is looking for. We're going to talk about price later, because this is a very sensitive point, especially right now. However, I'm going to put on the table one of the challenges that the sector in Ukraine has to overcome, which is the sourcing. You need to be open. Some of my companies said, I only source from Hong Kong. And I said, why only Hong Kong? Because that's the only one I have experience with. In order to know more sourcing, you need to go to the shows, you need to go to Paris, you need to go to Asia, you need to get more into the sector. You need to be ready to dig a little bit more to get the right fabric with the right price that's gonna suitable for you as a business and suitable for the market as a business as well. I am in between both of the worlds. I am between the producer and between of the buyers. So I want to make sure that you are satisfied and they are satisfied as well. So I need to understand your company and their needs to make the match. And that's what you need to do as well when you don't have me, because at one point I'm not going to be part of this because the project is already finished, but you need to at least catch as much as possible, understanding that this middle person, which is me right now, is not going to be there anymore, but you have to take over my place. You have to be able to understand the market and understand your company to be able to match with the right buyer. Otherwise, you're just wasting time. Once again, this is related to adaptation. Adaptation comes with an open mind. Adaptation comes with knowledge. Adaptation comes with the idea of let's see what the Canadian market is all about. Adaptation comes with the potential of invest in your company, in your training your people, training yourself. If you are trained as a head and you pass over the knowledge to your employees, that comes with a process of adaptation. So please make sure, especially these times, that we all need to adapt. We all need to reinvent ourselves. How we're going to be dealing with the new normal that everybody's talking about. I don't think it's a new normal. I think it's a phase in life, and we're going to continue life in a different way. But for me, it's the reality. And again, adaptation. How do I adapt for whatever it's happening? At the end, I want to be doing more interactive with you, because I want to know how all this situation is affecting you all, and how we put this knowledge that I'm giving you today in practice to be able to survive and to be able to keep moving forward and to continue with your companies. I don't want any of you to sacrifice your companies and your employees. And that's the same thing with the buyers. I will let you know more when I finish the presentation, what I've been talking to the buyers, and so I can share with you more about how they are adapting, so you can know how you're going to be facing these changes. So once again, I'm going to give you an example, very simple example from Ukraine. This is an SME that we've been working with since June last year. Sorry, I'm going to take some water. And it's an amazing company, beautiful products. When they present the codes to me, I love them because I like baggy things and extra oversized, and the market is looking for oversized. And then they came here, we get the agendas with the buyers, very good buyers, very well-known companies from Canada. The response from the buyers was, they're too oversizes. They're too big for our segment. Again, the segment from the big buyers that we're presenting the codes were women between around 45 and up. So I said, okay, it's fine, oversized. They look beautiful and small people. Many people here use oversized, especially Asian girls. There's a lot of Asians, 52% of the population comes from Asia. And then you said, okay, it has a space. And no, it didn't happen. Why? Because 45 women and up, they tend to become bigger, especially in Canada. And they like more shape, silhouette to make them look skinnier, I will say, smaller, I will say. So if you are a little bit bigger and you're big and you put one sweater and you want to put the jacket, if you put an oversized jacket, you're going to look bigger, even bigger. But if you put a tied, constructed coat like the one that you have here, the black one, you're going to have a different effect for the eyes. It's like a side effect. So this is the look that the women in Canada in that specific sector are looking for. So more silhouette construction. So I went to Ukraine last December, and believe me, I saw the most beautiful girls ever. They are tall. You guys are tall. You tend to be skinny and a different shape. If you come to Canada, you will see something different. You will see women from all over the world. You will see women from every culture, from every background. Back in Ukraine, I didn't see that. I saw a totally different body shape, size of the woman, height of the woman. So of course, you see when you come with a coat like it's over sizes and bigger, it's not going to be suitable for this market. So what is the company, this Ukrainian company doing? They are following the sizes, following the measurements, and following the construction of the garments based on the market. They did have to adapt. They had to make changes on the construction of the garment, the composition of the garment. The material was too heavy. So as I said, we need to have lighter coats, and we have a long winter. So the coats at the end of the winter, by the end of May, we're gonna have so much problem on the shoulders if the coats are big. I have coats from Ukraine in my past that for some reason I bought 10, 20 years ago, and they're still beautiful, constructed, and they also have leather inside, like protect the cold. I know that you know what I'm talking about, but for me, I use the coat 2 days. The third day, I have back pain. So for me, it's a coat that I can only use when I'm sitting down, when I go in the car, and I go to a specific place. But it's the most amazing coat ever, and I still have it. I bought it when I came to Canada 20 years ago, and it still is in the hanger, perfect. And as I said, for 20 years. But the regular market and the regular consumer is looking for a coat that they can throw away next year, that they can throw away in a couple of years. The market is changing, is returning to the way of before thinking. Like I remember back at home, you had a little sweater for one of your kids, and you put it to the next one, and you give it to the next one, and you give it to the next one, because the quality, it was so good. Right now, you buy a Gap baby little sweater, and after 6 months, it's all ruined because the material and the quality is not good enough. So everything changed. Hopefully, the market is changing because the considerations about the planet, the environmental consequences that we are putting into the planet are taken in consideration, but it's going to be a process to rotate again and go back to this kind of products. Right now, we are changing, but at this point, the buyers are still looking for things that the consumer the old regular consumers are looking for. Another example that I want to share with you, I'm having trouble with is another product adaptation. I'm going to show you, and this has to do with gender as well, is the way we present the garments. On the left side, you have one beautiful model with a beautiful cardigan that is presented to one of my buyers here in Canada, and they were offended about the picture because it represents the idea of a woman in a different way that the buyer wants to see it. And that will be something for gender, because keep in mind that this is very important, the way you present your product using the woman figure. And if you see the right side, this is the sexy for Canada. Canada, this is a sexy dress with a sexy girl, a woman from Canada with a green dress. And that the other one is a sexy, beautiful woman from Ukraine that is showcasing a sweater, a cardigan, but nobody's looking at the cardigan. Nobody's seeing anything about the cardigan. But the dress it's a very well presented picture. You see the dress, you see the beautiful woman, but you see the dress. You need to see the dress. You need to see the product. You need to see that you're showcasing your products, not the woman. The women are part of the catalog as a beautiful concept, because at the end, it's woman who's going to have the dress. It's a woman who's going to have the cardigan, but we need to be very careful with that. And I will leave that to my coworker, to the person related to gender, the specialist, and she will talk to you a little bit more about this. But this is Adaptation. This company on the left had to adapt completely the catalog, the website, and everything to showcase something that the market is looking for. Same thing with labeling. Labeling, I just want to look at the time. Okay, we're doing well. Labels. Labels are part important. It's a very important part of the garments. But the garments, basically, this is the information that every label has to have. Every garment has to come with a label. The label is important because it's telling us who is the brand, which is the brand, the size, the material, the country of origin, the instructions for carrying, the name of the company, and the website. This is important for you to know. My experience with labels are that sometimes the buyers give you the labels because it's easier for them to produce a bunch of labels, and you can paste it on the garments, or you can sew in on the garments, or you can print it on the garments. Sometimes you need to produce the labels, but it depends on each company. So labels are very important part of the garment. And I said that because once again, when I went to Ukraine, I went to this amazing place in Kiev, where all the designers are, and local production, local design. I found amazing coats, and I turn around to see the care of the garment, to see if I have to send it to the laundry, or if I can wash it at home, or how do I take care of the garment, where is the components of the materials of the fabric. And once I turn around, I couldn't find any label at all. No sizes, no brand, no country of origin, nothing. The label is important because does the information. All of this information is important for the consumer in Canada. Consumers in Canada, they look for the label. They look at the ketchup and they turn around the bottle, they read the ingredients, they read how many calories, how much sugar the ketchup has, and garments the same. Sometimes it's because knowledge is a very well-educated people who wants to know what are they putting on top of the bodies. Sometimes it's because allergies, so they need to know that the material that they're buying doesn't come with any allergic product. But if we don't have that in the garment, it's going to be very, very difficult. So we need to make sure that we have the logos, we have the labeling. With the labeling regulations, I add, you can click on the Textile Label Act, but I will say that this is something that you have to keep in mind, but keep in mind that you will have that either from the buyer or you will develop back at home. But anyway you go, not only Canada, anywhere you go, you need to have labels that make all the information possible for the consumer. Packaging is another trend that it's very important for the buyers here, especially now that we are going to be doing more online business. That makes a big difference when, and many SMEs from Ukraine can tell you this, when they have the buyers in front of them, buyers says, okay, well, how's your packaging? Oh, I'm using a bag that is produced with recycled products. Oh, I like that. Biodegradable sources of materials, raw materials, paper materials, wrap materials that come with a story behind. It's very suitable for the buyers. So it's not only the product. As you see, it's like a recipe. You want to make the best dinner ever, and you need to make sure you have all the ingredients together in order to produce what you want to make. So if you don't have one ingredient, it's not going to be bad at all, but it's not going to be good at all. So if you don't have salt and you're going to make pasta, it's not going to work. If you're going to have a pizza and you don't have the tomato base, it's not going to work. You're going to have the lasagna or the pasta, whatever, well constructed, but it's not going to taste good. So same thing with here. You need the product, you need the labeling, you need the packaging, you need the price, you need the fitting, the sizes, you need everything together at the same time. It's like a line, and then you have the final result. This is all what it takes to export. So any country is going to look for this, especially the Canadian market, because the Canadian market, everything, most of our products are coming from outside. Now that we have to face this coronavirus situation, Canada it's thinking about how we're going to survive by ourselves, because we don't have the agricultural sector like other countries. We don't have production like other countries. We used to have textile and apparel back in Quebec and Montreal, in that province, but not anymore because prices were too high. The manufacturing of garments were the prices were way too high. So everything was moved to China and to India and Bangladesh. So right now it's reconstructing and readapting. And when you have all the whole production line, not only from the garment, but the prices and the packaging and the labeling, you have a product that is going to come with a lot of interest for the buyer. So every time you just have, I give you some examples here, eco-friendly packaging, raw materials. It doesn't have to be very expensive product like a production packaging. It comes with creativity. I know so many companies, they reusing extra material that they are putting away for packaging. Everything that can stand up in front of other companies is very suitable and very attractive for the Canadian buyers. So this is my favorite part. I don't know, I said that the questions will be at the end, but I feel so lonely talking to myself. It's like talking to myself, basically talking to a mirror. So I don't know if anybody has a question. Olga?
So far, we have two questions, and one is regarding the how can Ukrainian manufacturers can obtain bestseller reports from certain Canadian retailers, and what would be the price for this research and reports? And the second question, almost the same: are there any specialized marketing companies in Canada that can conduct more detailed market research for Ukrainians, and how much that will cost?
Okay, so regarding market research, I can give you some, when we finish, I can give you some links about the research where you can buy markets, but it's around 3,000 to 4,000 US dollars. Basically what I do, what I have been doing, it's I register myself to receive newsletters from the associations. So I just go on the websites of the different apparel associations and I register to receive weekly or monthly news about what's happening, because I don't have the money to buy a market research every year, because every year is different. So in order to buy a market research is 3,000 to 4,000 US dollars. You can buy that one and get one example of that, but at the same time, there's no many changes from one year to another one, especially apparel. Is not that the market doesn't move that fast. It comes with numbers that will be interesting, but Canada has a very good way of communicate. Everything is public. I'm going to show you tomorrow from the website of the government how you look for buyers. And from just a regular public website, maybe I can give you some ideas tomorrow about, I will give you the links and we can go and browse about the market. Is market information. I'm taking the notes. So we can go together. I give you the links tomorrow, and you will have to browse. Everything is public. Nothing is going to be private. The only private things that you have to pay are the market research when they're more professional oriented. Sometimes I buy it 1 year, just once, and then I wait for 2-3 years, because $3,000, $4,000 is a lot of money for just one market research. So I buy one, and then I wait 2-3 years and buy another one. But I don't find too many changes right now. If you want to buy a market study, let's wait until we pass this, because everything is changing. Everything is changing. So by the end of the year, we're going to have a market study with the focus of what is the direction of the market from now on, because everything is like before and after, before the virus and after the virus. So right now, I can tell you tomorrow we'll give you some websites that you can look around and register for news. I don't know, I guess the Canadian magazines can, I mean, like, it doesn't matter where you are, you can register and you will receive emails with the trends around the market and the direction where the market in a part is hitting for. Also, the Chamber of Commerce, CUTIS, I believe, has a Chamber of Commerce. Well, is there, and our sponsors, and they do have material that can give you about the market, and the Embassy of Canada. The Embassy of Canada is that. Sorry?
And Canadian Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Export Promotion Office as well in Ukraine.
Yep, those are the sources that you have to achieve more information about the market, because they're working 24/7 to prepare this material. I know everything is public. I know through the CUTIS website and the Chamber of Commerce website, you have a lot of information about the market and the behavior of the market. So before starting any export plan, as I said, you need to know that. But tomorrow I will give you some links from magazines from the sector that you can register and receive newsletters. That will be something that I can give you tomorrow. That's where I find information before I construct all my presentations, and I find the numbers, and I find the, you know, the specifics that you need to know in a presentation. But for the reality, you need to be here. So at least once you need to come. I'm going to tell you one story from one South American company from lingerie. And you know, South America, it's a very well known by lingerie and swimwear because of the size of the woman and the prototype and what the market likes. So this was a lingerie company that it was selling, the #1 sales lingerie company back in that country. And they were coming into Canada, and they brought the whole idea about importing into Canada. And they said, okay, we're going to do a homework. We're going to go, the first day we're going to go out and we're going to walk around the city. We're going to go to the malls, that's a market study. And you're going to take notes about the woman, because your target is I mean, like the main target, the buyers for you company or woman. So let's look around and see what are the sizes of the woman, what is the typical prototype of the woman, are they big, are they small, where are they from, what did you see, and take notes and come back to the office at the end of the day and share with me the notes. So they went there and they walk around the city and they walk around different stores that I give them to visit, and they came back and said, okay, you have the notes. Next day, we're going to share everything at the end. So let's go second day. I'm going to give you this specific lingerie stores where you're going to go and take notes. Look at the colors, look at the composition, look at the sizes, look at the trends. What is in front of the store? What is in the back? Where are the sales? What is the price range? Take a note of everything. How many people do you see around? Where are the the changing rooms, how many changing rooms they have, all the details. I think my sector is a more detail-oriented sector. I know every sector have different characteristics, but this sector is detailed. It's about details. You need to open your eyes, because if you don't open your eyes, you don't see what's going on in front of you. So you need to go around and look. You need to look and take notes. So second day, they went there, they came back. Third day, we sat down and we said, okay, share with me everything that you noticed. And first of all, they said to me, they were not a typical woman in Canada, because as I said, this is a country with a multicultural cultured people, and everybody is different. So there were tall women, short women, big woman, little woman, white woman, colored woman, any kind of woman. So they couldn't find a specific woman that defined how's a woman from Canada. I can be a Canadian woman, somebody else can be different, somebody else. So nobody can find out a specific type for the woman in Canada. The second day, they came up and said they were not colors. They were only black, white, beige, little pinkies, light pinkies, nothing. There were no designs with flowers and with a little details on the bras. Everything was simple. Sizes, they were huge. We have from cups A to triple F. They were impressed about how different the market. And he said, can you give me one of your bras, the biggest one? And the bra was like this big. And he said, no woman from Canada is gonna be possible to fit in this. And they said, well, in South America, the women like to buy at least 1 to 2 sizes smaller the bras, because they like to push up the breast. And we're like, that's not gonna happen here. Maybe 2 to 3 people, but people here in Canada and women are looking for comfort. Everybody's working, everybody is moving. We have to do everything by ourselves. We have to do the laundry. We have to take care of the kids. We have to go to the office. So nobody's gonna be able to work with the bra that you have the breast right to here and so tight. So it's not gonna work. And they took like 6 months to understand the market. They brought a lot of bras and a lot of panties back to Canada, trying to sell them. We ended up selling the products in a market show, one by one, like a retail price, like okay, give me one, I give you two. If you buy one, I give you two. It was a mess, and they lost a lot of money because they didn't follow the instructions, and they didn't follow the knowledge that they were getting from the experience one-on-one. First of all, sizes were not there. The sizes in South America from a bra is A to B. So you either A, B, or C, that's it. So if you have a bigger breast, it's not gonna work for you, because you have to fit into A, B, or C. And everybody who's working in lingerie knows that the cups have to be A, double A, B, double B, C, double C, triple C, D, double, and so on, in order to fulfill everybody. But if you have one shape of woman in mind, it's not gonna work for Canada, because we do have so many kinds and different kinds of women. Thank you to this beautiful country. Everybody's accepted. So we do have different shapes, different colors, different tastes. And so the idea of having a woman who is triple D cup in a B cup is not gonna work. It's not gonna work. So I explained that to them. It took me a couple days to go over and over, but they didn't adapt. They didn't want to see it. They wanted to do it, force it. It's like put a triangle inside of a circle. It's not gonna happen. And I told my SME sometimes, so frustrated, it's not going to happen. Either you stop and listen to me and open your eyes and change your mind, or you don't do anything. So this is kind of the examples that I tell because they're based on reality. And I want you to use that reality and think about it. It's not about your product into the market. It's about the market and your product adaptation to do this. So tomorrow I will give you the websites so you can have, that's why I said it's important for you to come. At least if you don't have the capacity to come, to be able to have somebody in the market who can tell you, take pictures, know everything, and be ready to adopt. So this is a challenge here. Market expert price list preparation. This is one of the things that we always face in any country. Any producer is facing this. Any producer is challenging by this topic. And I want to tell you what is going to work and what is not going to work. So first of all, the regular way people calculate price for export is like what it says at the beginning. Double the cost for the wholesale price. Multiply the wholesale price by 2 or 2.5 and they get the retail price. So let's do it vice versa. You come here to Canada, you go to the store, you identify your product, you said, okay, this product pretty much like mine, composition pretty much like mine, price $80. Wow. So if you divide the price for 2, it's $40. That in your mind is the price that the buyer buys, $40. So you said, oh no, I can produce for $40 or until $30 is my maximum price. Perfect, I can sell this product here. So you go home, you start working on your calculation of the prices, and then when the buyer says to you, send me your prices, you put 32, sorry? You go and work on...
Виключіть свій мікрофон, будь ласка, заважає шум. Дякую.
You go to your calculation process and you ended up saying, oh, my price is 35, even lower than your price in the store, because your price in the store was 80 divided by 2, it's 40, so I give you 35. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It's not the right way to calculate prices. Let's look at this one here. You see, we're gonna have the Nordstrom price. It's a Hugo Boss shirt. It is retail price $125. So you mark down 2.5 or 2, it's 50. And then you mark those 50 down another 2.2 or 2.5 is 25. This is for the high-end products. But if you go to, let me show you this one, products like a regular store, like a massive production. I'm not going to talk about Walmart. I'm not going to talk about the cheapest retail because we are not competitive in that segment. The Ukrainian SMEs are not competitive with China, are not competitive with India, Bangladesh, and so on. We need to make sure that our price range is in the right niche. So this is the calculation. And basically, I give everybody a strategy to do it. You take the calculator, you go to the retail, and you go and said, okay, the price of this garment, pretty much like mine, is $80. $80, right? How do I know what is the price that the buyer is buying from the sourcing? How do I know from this $80 how much the garment costs really to the buyer? How do you know? You divide this price, $80 by 5 or 6. This is the price for the garment. $80 divided by 5, $16. So $16 is the price FOB. And that time, everybody drops and go like, no, I cannot produce a sweater for $16. Well, this is the price that the buyer is gonna look for you, is gonna ask you for. Is gonna say to you, I need this sweater in $16. But listen, I cannot produce this sweater in $16. Okay, thank you. I will buy it from another country. It can be anywhere, Turkey, it can be South America, it can be China, it can be Bangladesh. That's why it comes the time that you realize, okay, I don't have the $16. I can give you 18. But on top of that, I give you a very nice packaging. I give you all the details for the label. And so that's a negotiation process. But I want you to keep in mind that once you have that price range, it's very difficult for you to change that price from the buyer. And Olga and everybody who's working with me for at least 1 year can tell you that. We face the wall on this. We get ready with everything. And then suddenly the prices are not working. And prices are the more sensitive part for a buyer here in Canada. It's not quality, it's not design, it's not the fabric, it's not the sizing, it's the price. Price is the first one, and then comes the rest. So let's see again. I'm going to show you an example here. We'll go to this. I'm going to stop sharing here because I'm going to go online to some of the buyers that we are working with, so you can know the price range. Let's look at this little shorts. Oh, 59. Oh, well, I can do better than that. Of course, I can produce for 30. Oh, really? Let's go for 59 divided by 5. Dividing by 5. $11. Can you produce these shorts for $11? Oh, yes, sure. What is the material? Oh, it is a cotton, 100% cotton. Oh, no, I cannot do it because my cotton comes from Pakistan or India, and it's way too expensive. Or what about this one? This is very expensive here. 199. Okay, 199 divided by 5 equals $39. Can you produce this code in $39? Okay, let's see the quality. Oh no, it's too high for me. I cannot. So I'm gonna go online and I'm gonna do some, where is it? I have it ready. Let me go here. With this. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. This is Tristan. This is a very well-known buyer in Canada. It is located in Montreal. So this is what they're doing right now. Let me move this little thing here. This is what they're doing right now. If you see the garments that they're producing, you tell me, ooh, I can do this one. Okay, let's see. Or let me go to jackets, blazers. Oh, this one. You select one that you look like, okay, it's pretty much like my garments. So this one. Okay, this one. I can do this one. How much is it? Oh, it's a good price. It's a good retail price. It's not that high. It's not that low. It's around $200. Let's see the material. It is 66 polyester, 32 rayon, and spandex. Again, polyester for the lining and spandex for the lining. Once again, polyester is one of the favorite materials for the Canadian market. Not in vain, it's called the polyester market. We do have 12 kinds of polyesters. Not only all polyesters are bad or cheap, they're very bad for the environment, bad for everybody, bad for the skin. the cheapest one, but we also have polyester that look very fine and very attractive, like silk. So those are the high-end polyesters. So they're producing basically in Indonesia. But let's see this one. It looks like it's a good polyester. It looks like a very high-end. So it is 32 rayon and spandex. Okay, yes, I can do this. I know you don't work too much with polyester. The companies that I know, they like to work with more attractive materials for the European market, but for the North American market, especially Canada, polyester is one of the favorite ones. So let's see. Okay, so far I do have polyester. I do have the information about the composition. Now I'll go to the size chart. The size chart, it is important because I am a medium, and maybe in Ukraine, I'm gonna be a large or extra large, maybe, because I went there and I found that I'm large there. I'm not a medium anymore. So over there, it looks like I'm bigger, but it's because the size of the chart. So the size chart gives you the idea of specifically the inches that you need to fulfill. So I'm positive this for you is small and this for you is medium. So for you, this for you, it's a still large, and this for you, it will be extra small. So for you in this range, I am large. So you need to make sure this is another issue regarding adaptation. The structure of the garment has to be well constructed and the sizes have to be accurate. Because if you give me a medium and I look at the medium, it looks like a small for me, I have to redo everything again. But this will be given by the buyer. The buyers are going to tell you exactly the inches and the measurements for the garments. Right now, we're focusing on the price. Okay, so you say, yeah, I do have the composition. I can do that. I can do 60%, 66 polyester. I can do it. Okay, so you go back to your office and you said, okay, 195 divided by 5, it's $39. And I'm doing 35. I mean 5. Sometimes the buyers divided by 6, but I'm doing by 5. So this time I'm gonna give you the opportunity to divide it by 5. So it's $39 FOB. FOB means free on board. So that means that the buyer will take the products from the port, either the seaport or the airport, and they take over the import duties and the import shipment. The duties are going to be different. I believe they're 0 because of the free trade agreement, which is an excellent opportunity for all of you to take advantage, because there's no duty, there's no taxes on the garments because of the free trade agreement between Canada and Ukraine. So at this point, it will be $39 that you have to charge for your garments on the port or on the airport. So you're gonna say to me, Maria, it's impossible for me to produce that kind of little coat, little jacket in $39. You are the ones who telling me no. So I will say, okay, go and do the calculation based on quantities, because this is not a big company. This is a small company, medium family company. So they will ask for you between 200 and 500 jackets. You're gonna tell me if you are a big producer, that's too small. If you're gonna small producer, that's too big. So these are the challenges. I wanted to put it on the table because this is very sensitive. You need to work on prices. And in order to work on price, you need to work on composition. And in order to work on composition, you need to work on suppliers. See how's the chain. Again, suppliers, composition, price. Because if you have the price that doesn't fit, and you said to me, okay, I said, what is the minimum price you can give me? And you will say $49, $50. Impossible. You can tell me 40, 40.5, but if you go to 50 or 49, $10 on top of my price, it's not going to work. This is it. So then you're seeing you're stuck with a big wall. You're stuck with the prices. You're stuck. You did everything complete. You complete your market study. You complete your business plan. You complete everything. And then you have the price. But the price, the result of the price comes to the result of the market study. These are the studies that you need to make before jumping. Okay, let's do another one. This one. This is in Trent, which is the brand from Hudson Bay. Hudson Bay is a very well-known buyer. It's a department store in all around Canada. It's a very typical store where everybody can go and buy. It's less for, I can say for younger people as well, but for more into the category of the market with the money it's spending. There's a search that shows that women between 30 and up, they're the ones who spend the most because they're already working and they have capacity to buy and so on. So we're focusing on this company and we said, okay, this is a private label and it's $59, this crop white leg. See, from 79 to 59. Let's see, $79. 79 divided by 5 equals $15. This is what they buy for. $15.80. So basically $16. If they put it down to 59, they're still winning. They're not losing anything there because 59.25, it's way more than double than $16 that they bought for. They bought it for $16 FOB. So $60 they're selling for on sale, they're still winning. So that's how it works. That's how it works. So let's click on this one. And let's see if they have the composition here. Polyester spandex. That's it. Again, polyester spandex. There's nothing there. And it's still $59. And you said to me, oh, I can do this in 20. Oh no, I can do this in $30. It doesn't work. You know that they buy it for $16. So then we're stuck with a challenge, which is price. Okay. Let me see here. Where's my presentation? So once again, when we go back to price, I want to give her a thought. I want to hear some thoughts from you because we still have time. Maybe we can talk a little bit about price. Olga?
We have a couple of questions. If you don't mind, you can answer them. So the question about the men clothing, what aspects of the market should be taken into account?
The market from the man is exactly the same behavior as women. Doesn't make any difference regarding the behavior of the market. It's even a little bit more difficult because men, they don't buy as much as women. They don't spend that much money like women. They don't buy because they feel the need to buy. They buy because they need the garment. They need to buy a pair of socks and they buy a pair of socks. We go to buy a pair of socks and we ended up with pants. We ended up with a jacket, sometimes not even the socks. So we are very different. So the market for men, it's a smaller market, but the behavior is the same. They don't, the price range is, the calculation of the price is the same. The calculation of the market behavior, I mean, the market behavior is the same. The tags are the same, the packages are the same. So there's no difference. The only difference is the size of the market. It's even smaller than the woman. In another presentation, we have that, and I believe CUTIS have that presentation, the size of the market. In this presentation, it was not focused on the size of the market, but the size of the market for apparel, for men apparel is smaller. But being said that, the behavior is mostly the size, the same regarding the buyers. Regarding the final consumer is different because, as I said, the men tend to buy less than the women. They only buy what they need. They don't buy because they like to buy. They buy because they need something specifically. But the calculation is the same. The packaging is the same. Everything that I talked before applies for any kind of garment: men, women, kids, teenagers, and so on.
And one more question regarding the men. Don't you find that men don't like polyester? Dress, shirt especially, they prefer cotton.
They prefer cotton, but it's a cotton that it has to come without wrinkles. No wrinkling cotton, which because nobody has the time here to iron. We don't have maids, we don't have help. So basically we do everything by ourselves, and the cotton has to come without wrinkle. So it has to come with a specific process that is with a specific finishing that doesn't allow the shirts or the pants to wrinkle. Everything comes with a little bit of a stretch, a spandex. That's something 100% cotton has to come with a specific wrinkling free. And if you want to add something, people is looking for stretch, even in the shirts, because that gives the opportunity to feel more comfortable and to be able to use pants that comes with stretch, shirts with a stretch, and so on. So the compositions are not simple as no polyester, as because they don't come with dresses, but not only cotton, because 100% cotton comes with a wrinkle. So every time we talk about composition, it comes with a different treatment in every sector. Specifically for men, 100% cotton without any treatment doesn't work here. Same thing with linen. Linen doesn't work because same thing. It has to come. We do have a polyester linen that it comes wrinkle free. So those are the kind of fabrics that the men as well are looking for.
Thank you. And one more question regarding the China influence and presence on the market. With a sense of suspicion and disappointment of some countries toward China, do you think that Canadian buyers would be looking for suppliers from other countries? What should Ukrainian SMEs do to fill the supply chain gap that may happen due to coronavirus 19?
Yeah, that's a very important question, and this is why we're moving so fast, and that's we plan all this web seminar, because what's happening with China now gives us a window opportunity to work with the buyers. Right now, buyers are at home, working from home. They're not traveling around. That gives us time to target the buyers. That gives us time to show them and to be able to showcase our products, and also to produce for them in a different direction than China. Right now, China is hold, but as soon as the doors and the frontiers are open, everybody's gonna run to Asia again to find out what happened with the productions. Many Chinese companies are not producing because they are afraid of the buyers not paying or sending back the garments to production facilities because they don't have the capacity to pay. However, for us as Ukrainian companies, Ukrainian SMEs, this is the time for us to move fast, to show them that we do have capacity, that we're still producing, that we're still adapting, that sometimes we do have small quantities right now The orders are not going to be that big anymore because everybody's testing the waters. Everybody's going to be testing the market again. How's the behavior? However, e-commerce is moving fast. For example, I talked to the buyers from Nordstrom Canada, and they're selling, and I'm going to show you the chart tomorrow where the sales, or maybe today at the end of the presentation, the sales are more than double online. So online e-commerce is moving real fast because people are still buying. As I said, women buys for a different needs, not only because they need a dress. Sometimes women buy because they're depressed, they're alone, they're sad. So this is the moment that everybody's in the computer, and if you send me an email, for example, and then I click on the website and I found a very beautiful dress that is a good price, or you give me some kind of sale like 10 or 15% off, I will buy it, even though I don't need it. But I feel depressed, or I've been lonely, I've been sad, and I feel comfort, and woman buys for comfort on the buying. That's the mental issue behind the selling and the buying from women. So Nordstrom is doing very well online. Amazon in some categories for apparel, they're doing very well. I will show you the numbers. But right now, regarding your question, we need to move fast. I need you to go and take notes and go to your company and see, take a time in front of your computer and see everything, compare what I show you with what you have, and see if your products are suitable for the market, if it's something that the buyers are going to be looking for, and move fast and present options, because this is a time that the buyers are sitting on hold. So every email that is going through a buyer, it can be checked. But basically, they don't check the emails. They have an assistant who checks for the emails. And if they receive 120 emails per day, which is the regular amount of emails with different sourcing, selling them products and offering them products, they're not going to have the time. Right now, they do have the time. Right now, they're revising the agenda. They're revising the sourcing of production. So this is the time that we can move fast. So our time frame is short. It's between now and before they open everything. So I will say between now and July. July will be the time that everything is going to bounce back. And we have that opportunity to approach the market.
Thank you, Maria.
Another question?
Not so far.
Okay, so we already saw the bay, we saw the prices. I want to show you, Janadine. This is a digital presence. This is something that we need to have in order to be presenting ourselves. Everything here is electronic. I don't go to the meetings. I cannot go to a meeting in Vancouver, which is 7 hours away from Toronto, or I cannot go to Montreal every day to present new companies because it's an hour away by flight from Toronto. Everything is electronically. As I said, everybody's traveling around right now. Everybody's sitting in front of the computers. So this is the time buyers are checking websites. Buyers are looking onto the websites and seeing if you guys have potential. And so this is an example of one company. It's called Janadine. It's an SME company from Ukraine. She will be talking to you tomorrow. She will be telling you about her company, her experience, her adaptation process, how she come up with the website that she adapt and she changed in English and put prices and adapt prices and everything. That will be like an experience one-on-one with one SME directly tomorrow. So very important websites. Let me show you. I have to stop sharing this and show you, Janadine. Oh my God. Where's my presentation? Oh, here. So, Janadine. Tomorrow you will have more of her. And this is something that she adapted. She turned the website from Ukrainian to English, and she was able to capture all the samples and her experience with everything that she's been doing, sharing everybody around the world, what is she doing, so the buyers can see specifically what is the prices, the collections, the cooperations, her contact, everything is on the website. Very simple. It doesn't have to be very a trendy, a very crazy website, very simple and clean. So this is a kind of company that you will see tomorrow. And let me go back to my presentation. And this is where we are right now. Janadine. And another tool that you need to have is the line sheet. The line sheet is the one that counts with the product, the composition of the product, the size of the product, the MOQs, the minimum quantities for the production, the lead time, the price by pairs, by 5,000, 3,000, and 300 pairs. So this is something that everybody has to have, not only for Canada, for every market. You're gonna present the products, you have the picture, you have the composition, you have the size, you have the quantity, the lead time, and the prices. This is very important as well. And the market trends. This is the new thing for now with the COVID. The market trends, how we're doing, how the e-commerce is standing. This is the line, the timeline with the Canadian situation. As you can see, I don't know about Ukraine. I believe it's pretty much the same. When you guys close the borders, when you guys close the restaurant, the retail, every sector except for the essential workers and essential retail, essential business. So it's pretty much the same as everywhere else. We do have before and after. So as I said, before COVID, everything was moving in a smooth and linear. Right now, we need to adapt. We need to make sure that everything has to be together, reinvented. For example, in Canada, this is something that I want to share with you because this is something that you may be doing as an association, as a group of retails suffering right now for what's happening. This is a lady who decided to put together all the retails, all the little boutiques and the producers together, and you can buy online directly from them through this specific website. So when you click on that, you can do the research later on. When you have the presentation, you go online retailers, and you see all the list of retailers in Montreal that you can buy for, and you can order directly. So everybody's trying to do something different. So for example, here, this is the chart I want to show you. E-commerce in clothing right now. In between March 11 and 29, it was this, 2020. In between February 25th to March is this one.
Maria, you're still sharing the Janadine website.
Oh, really?
Yes, not a presentation.
What is it? Okay. Here? You see that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. This is the growth in e-commerce between March 11 and March 29. This is our sector here. It was 62% growth in e-commerce Between February 25th and March 20, this is the growth right now, 160. So this is vice versa, sorry. This is February, this is March. So before we were growing e-commerce 62%, right now we're growing 160%. So this is very important. This is the way the market is behaving right now. And this is the direction the market is going right now. So when you said to me, Maria, where do I buy a market research? This is already the research here. So it is growing 160% e-commerce. So that gave us to make us a question, how are we going to target this? How are we going to be able to sell and online, not only for Ukraine, but also for Canada? How are we going to be targeting this? How are we going to be using the platforms, the electronic platforms to present our products and to be effective? Do we need to do the platform directly in our website? Or do we need to unify together as a market segment and put all our products in one platform so anybody can access our products directly? That's something that you need to find out. That's something that I can give you ideas, but you need to solid think about it. You're going to do it unified with everybody, or you're going to do it by yourself. It comes with different results. It comes with different strategies, but you need to think about this. It's, for example, I'm talking to every buyer. Everybody is turning to e-commerce. It doesn't matter the size of the business. The small boutiques are struggling right now. They cannot do e-commerce. They're too small. They have only 3 coats, 10 shirts, 20 pants. Small boutiques are gonna tend to die if everything keeps going the same way. The middle-sized and large companies are turning into e-commerce. So they're not closing the stores, they're downsizing the stores, and they are closing some stores and leaving the more important stores. But hopefully with the expectation that everything is gonna be open again pretty soon, the government says here that it's not gonna be until minimum at the end of May. So especially for Ontario, every province is behaving differently, but May, it's still testing for the COVID, but this is what is giving you the idea what's happening. 160% the buyers are buying online, e-commerce. That means that we need to think as a segment, how are we gonna target this? How are we gonna be doing this? How are we going to reinvent our commerce with Canada in this case, and even with Europe and even in Ukraine? So this is the roadmap right now. This is what is giving us the idea. So you don't need to buy the study. This is the final study. This is what it says, the direction of the market, how the market is behaving. People is still buying. People is still doing, especially women are still buying. I receive emails every day from cosmetics, from shoes, from bags, from apparel, giving me prices, giving me options. It's like a non-stop process every day. Mails and emails and emails and emails with many products. So that's the way the suppliers are reacting to what's happening right now. So I need to hear from you. I want to hear from you the experience that you are going through in this phase, how this situation is affecting everybody, how you are, what are the steps you're taking to face this new reality. I would like really to hear about this in this next minutes.
But so far, we have one question regarding Genadine sample, and the participant asked, isn't Genadine is also very expensive to Canadian market?
Yes, Genadine one of her process has been changing the composition. So right now she is working on the composition for Nordstrom. Nordstrom is a company who is a middle high end. It's not the highest, but it's not the lowest. It's the middle high end, and to be high end. So prices can be more higher, but she's still too high for them. So she's adapting. She works with merino wool, but right now she's adapting with different blends in order to accommodate the request from the buyers. Another question?
Not so far.
So I would like to hear, Olga, if they can share with me some experience about what's going on with Van and what's happening right now.
Будь ласка, хто хоче поділитися власним
So
досвідом?
please, anyone would like to share their own experience?
Чи є сміливі в
Do we have
аудиторії?
the courageous people from our audience who would like to share?
Nobody wants to share? Like, what's happening with you? Like, I don't know any of you. I don't know any of your companies. I don't know what is a production capacity. I don't know anything of you. So I would like to know what's happening with you, how you're surviving, basically. It's very important for me to know how you guys are surviving during this pandemic situation. Because I know some of you buy the project, but not too many. But I would like to know more about you, if it's possible, if you want to share with me. Nobody? Olga.
At least we know that they are visiting our webinar, so they're interested in the topic.
Yeah, but I would like to know what is the situation right now and how they're going to target that situation. I want to hear from the real experiences from them. I can tell you about the buyers. I can tell you more about the buyers, but I want to tell you more based on what they're telling me. So I would like to hear from them what is happening. I know what is happening because it's the same thing that is happening here, but what are the steps they're taking to move forward and to overcome the situation? So we can create a conversation. Olga.
Oh, we don't have any brave companies here.
Hey,
Seems
hello, hi.
Hello, thank you.
Hey, my name is Andrew. Actually, it's not probably about braveness. It's probably because of the uncertain situation that we have at the moment. And sometimes it's quite difficult to shape like what is the strategy at the moment because everybody's trying to survive. Because I would say that basically all the stores, the offline stores are closed. And sometimes in Ukraine specifically, people are not that much accustomed to the online shopping. Well, we can tell a bit about our experience, although it's not that big. So we produce the sporting goods for snow, for mountain sports, basically. So for snowboarding, skiing. The experience of this year is not that nice because also the snow season happened to be very lately. So there was no real snowfall in Ukraine, and we don't do much of export. That's why the sale was not that, I would say, good. But then when the snowfall like came in, it was late, let's say February. Everything was locked already in March, and the sale dropped even more. So what we are doing right now, we just like preparing the goods for the next year, just the new collection. So we of course like try to keep some liquidity in from finance perspective, just to make sure that we survive, and we hope that next year it will turn for better. That's it. So, well, the strategy is like, yeah, just to keep on going. yeah, and deliver as much as possible through the web, if possible. And yeah, we just try to redefine a bit the channels internally in Ukraine, but yeah, it's not that easy.
Yeah, yeah, everybody's facing. I really appreciate that you share with us your experience. Why? Because for me, it gives me a better understanding in order to, this is what I do. And I am like I am a business person in between you and the buyer. So sometimes I compare myself into like a website when you match people, like you know, you go to the website to find your girlfriend and ideal wife later on. But this is what I do. I hear you. I hear what is your production, what your needs are. I hear everything. I learn about you, everything as much as possible, and then I go into my market and I really see if there's a potential. Because you, as I said from the beginning, with or without me, this is what you do. Okay, this is my company. I know my company by memory. Now I need to understand the market. So my first idea that comes when I hear you talking is the adaptation. And you said we are adapting. People is not buying basically online because it's not part of the culture. I understand that. But we're trying to adapt everything for the next season. And then it comes to me the idea like, what if you adapt your product to be suitable for an everyday? It's a fashion trend to use snowboarding or skiing or climbing a sportwear into the fashion daily basics clothing. So if you can show me products that I can put on every day on the regular people, it gives you an option to open your possibilities. If you close it only to sporting goods only for the season for winter, you're going to have problems because this, as you said, the weather is changing. We don't have we have long winters, but no snow. So you're going to be facing a lot of difficulties. And also, if you put your product in a different perspective, that you have winter, but you also can produce sweaters or pants like an everyday product based on your knowledge and based on your category of snowboarding or sporting or sports from winter, that's another option for you. So you need to explore and see what is the reality about this in your case. You know what I mean? Like in your case, you need to open your mind and say, okay, winter is not going to be the same for now on. We don't know what's going to be the consequences. We don't know when the vaccine is going to be ready. We don't know if the people is going to be allowed to go outside like it used to be before. We have against us the weather, and we have against us right now the situation with the COVID. Okay, I do have this amazing factory and this 20 whatever employees you have. So we need to adapt and change the production right now and try to put our knowledge in sport woods and garments into daily use, everyday garments. So I can buy a shirt from you, a pants for you, a sweater from you that I can use it at home. I can use it walking. Right now, the tendency is to buy things that you can use at home. Nobody's going to be buying a big coat because nobody's going out. So see, that's the mentality. Okay, you have a factory. You can produce leggings. You can produce ties. You can produce sweaters. You can produce a lot of. So that's the tendency. Think about right now. Lululemon is one of the biggest brands in yoga wear, and everybody's buying that because everybody's living in yoga wear right now at home. If you look at everybody in the webinars, on the office meetings, everybody's sporty. Nobody is wearing coats or ties or anything because we are at home. We're locked down. We don't know how long it's going to be this. We don't know if companies are going to close offices and I'm going to send everybody or half of the people working from home. This is a situation that is going to take time. So you have a company that is producing sporting goods for outside, wintertime. Okay, you have a niche there, but you need to adapt and open another opportunity. That's how I see it, and that's how I work with the SMEs that I work with. I try to orient them and see if there's a possibility of business instead of closing, instead of losing, adapting.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, we are considering this option, but yeah, it also puts some constraint as well from marketing perspective, because when you target your audience, then you need to develop different strategy, and sometimes it's a bit difficult, like to fit into several segments. But anyway, yeah, it's quite good advice. So thanks for that.
Yeah. So it's just like as I said, it's easier to say than done, because I don't have a factory, I don't have employees to pay, I don't have equipment that I bought in the past and it's sitting there. But if I will have it, I will be doing exactly the same thing that you guys are doing, trying to adapt, trying to create as soon as possible a website that you can offer to the world. Because how do you buy? Actually, when you want to buy something, you Google it. You said sweaters, you said cotton sweaters, or you said cashmere sweaters, and it comes a lot of companies, and you start doing the research. And not only Amazon, you don't only go to Amazon, or you only go to the stores, you go to many different. And as I said, maybe as a sector, you can unify together and create a platform together that you can sell together. It will be unifying efforts. Instead of everybody doing a one by one, just unify your efforts and create one platform that you have shoes, and you have bags, and you have sweaters, and you have coats, and you have sportwear, and you have loungewear. It gives the potential to defend yourself and maybe put together efforts. But I know it's hard. It's a challenge. It's a challenge.
Yeah, sometimes. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Maria. We have two more stories from our participants. One is Pan Oleg. He said he's knitting kids' hats, but now he's working on new models. And we also have a story from Pani Olena, and she said that before quarantine, they started working with Revolve own brands, Los Angeles based, and they were doing full package. And also they have some styles in development for New York based designers that sells on Farfetch.
So, and what are they doing to adapt right now? What are they doing to survive?
Пані Олено, можете додати щось?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. So actually 5 years ago, I visited Kiev fashion show in Kiev, and we got some samples. And one of my friends from Los Angeles, he back in September, he remembered about these beautiful coats from Ukraine. And he was currently consulting for Revolve brands in Los Angeles. So we started developing samples, and they loved designers, and development team really liked what we can make in Ukraine. And so we already had orders, but this pandemic stopped everything. Actually, not stopped, just put on hold. And also they recommended us to design it from New York. And now I also have some styles in development for actually Canadian American brands. We have 3 styles, like 1,500 pieces on order. So it's actually going really well for Ukraine and North American market. So that's our story.
Okay, thank you. Yes, at this point, what I heard from buyers is that they're not canceling everything, they're holding everything. And the main concern is not the behavior of the market, because they know that once the market is open, this is not a recession. This is not like in the past, that it's not because the money is out and it's not because the people doesn't have the money. This is something that was put on us because it's the situation. So people is still buying. It's not like a recession. When a recession, you don't have anything. There's no money on the market. There's nothing there. So this is like we're holding, but people is spending. So the buyers know that once everything it's open again, the economy is gonna bounce back. People are gonna buy, maybe not that much as before and not the speed that before. Maybe everybody's gonna go out crazy and buy more, but the main concern for the buyers right now is production, because of the regulations. Because every time that I talk to buyers and I talk about Ukraine, they said, how's the situation there? How they're managing the COVID? Are they working together? Are the factories working? Are they allowed to work? They can be together, can be producing? And that's the main question, because the regulations right now are like, you cannot be close to anybody. And the biggest places where the spread has been, besides the seniors' homes, are the factories. So factories have to be closed because, for example, when they cut the meat and all that, people are together, right? They're very close together. The manufacturers are very close together. Nobody's working 2 meters away from the other. Everybody's close together. So that's where the spread of the buyers goes. But everybody's asking me, how is Ukraine doing regarding production? And also shipping, because we have right now problems with the shipping orders. Like if I order something from Ukraine, it's going to take 2 weeks. It's going to take four weeks right now. So those kind of things. But buyers are not concerned about consumers. Buyers are concerned about production. And since everybody was making their garments in Asia, now buyers are thinking twice and said, okay, we cannot put all our production in Asia. It has to be combined. It has to come with production in Europe, South America, maybe Africa. But right now, Asia is not reliable as before. So that's where it comes our opportunity. We need to move and we need to adapt and we need to do it fast, because once everything comes to place again, we tend to forget things. We tend to forget where we're coming from, but everybody's going to forget about this. So we need to be solid, working fast, and knowing where we're going. My recommendation for you is to be looking for more buyers and to look for adaptation of your product. Sounds like your product is for designers, which is it's a different niche. It's a smaller niche. So you will come with looking for adaptation to open more possibility for buyers. Anything else? Questions, comments?
There is a comment that the statistic shown supports your point that Canadians continue to have the means to buy. People are renovating their houses, buying appliances, furniture, home decor, etc.
It's true. Everybody's buying, still buying. You see the numbers here? You see that furniture, it's growing very fast. Household appliances. So people is renovating homes. As I said, it's not a recession. We're not into a recession. A recession, everything is stopped. There's not money outside. People is still buying. Why? Because the economy is still moving. The government aids are working. Some people are still struggling to buy food and to buy the essentials, but the people is still buying. The people is still buying clothes and makeup, and you see the sporting goods. Mr. Andrew, sporting goods. Do you see the size of the growing? The growth is 284%. But if you go and dig a little bit deeper, it's not going to be on the snow. It's not going to be sporting goods. It's going to be exercising that at home. People is building gyms at home because nobody can go out, right?
Yeah, would be really cool to see the breakdown, like
yes.
what's underlying.
I was looking for that, but it's too early, you know, because numbers will show up later on. Numbers will show up around June. June will be the time that I will see more open structure, like what kind of clothing. And I'm sure the clothing is going to go into the lounge wear or the yoga wear. Of course, clothing is not going to be hats, it's not going to be coats, it's not going to be, because you don't need a coat inside home, right? You don't need a hat to work from home. You need comfortable clothes. You need cardigans. You need light sweaters. You need socks. Those are the kind of things that you need. But as I said, this is the opportunity there. So I've seen a big high interest on socks. And I was like, why everybody's buying socks right now? What kind of socks? It's not the socks that we use for office, or the chunky, like warm socks, you know, those socks that look for kids. Those are the interest there. And it's like, buyers are calling me and looking for socks. Maria, do you have a socks production company? I said, yes, I know companies from Ukraine, actually. So when the buyers are telling me the product they're looking for, that's what shows me the interest of the market. So if you saw Tristan, they're selling jeans, they're selling clothes, very looking for the market reopen. When the market's gonna be reopened, they're selling products that are gonna be like a normal way to work, go to an office. But right now, we don't know who's gonna go to an office. Maybe CUTIS program in Kiev, they're gonna say it's too dangerous to come to office. Everybody's gonna keep working from home. Who knows? So nobody's gonna be buying coats and jackets and pants for office and shoes. Everybody's gonna be buying, again, socks and leggings. So there's a window opportunity there for the producers. Meanwhile, the world is still on hold, but people is still buying, and you see this chart. It is come. I got this information in March, last month. It's new, it's fresh. So it's not like people is not buying anything. People is still buying, and everything is online. Everything. There's nothing open. There's no way for me to buy a pencil in a store. We only have the supermarkets. So if I want a pencil, I need to go online. So this is what's happening. So right now, if I need a pajama, everybody's living in pajamas and sweatpants. I'm gonna go online, and the buyers are looking for those products. The coats, the jackets, the big things, the dresses. They're still looking for that, because we're working on that with the SMEs that I'm working with, but they're putting on hold that. They're looking at everything, they're ready to make the order, and then they put on hold everything. And so let's wait for this specific samples and dresses let's wait until July. Okay. So right now buyers are looking into fall, winter, not even spring, summer. Spring, summer is too late already. So they're looking into fall, winter to look for products. So this is a good opportunity for you, Andrew, to come out with products for fall, winter. Fall, winter means October. So this is the time that you can showcase products for that season. Right now, summer, spring is gone. It's gone. I have my companies who produce samples and new collections from spring, summer. They're not going to work because nobody's buying a spring, summer. Buyers are looking for fall, winter. So everybody having socks, leggings, loungewear, cardigans, t-shirts, but the coats, you need to look for new buyers, not only the designers. That will come, but right now it's not going to happen right away. I just wanna...
Maria, we have some more comments from our participants regarding their activities during the pandemic, and they mentioned that they started to produce some protective medical suits or medical masks. What would you say about that?
That's a great, I've been seeing many companies around the world turning their productions into protective gear and mask and the gear for doctors. But it could be, it's for Canada, it has to come with a specific documentation and certificates. So I think that would be good for you internal market, and maybe for the countries around you when you just negotiate very directly. But for Canada, it will be very, very difficult. I already have two companies that I study the possibilities, but it comes with a lot of certifications. So we need to see the certifications in the deeply, because once you do and you claim that you have the certification, you have to prove it and you have to show it, because it's medical equipment, right? It's not like you sending me boxes of masks, clothes, I mean like a fabric mask. I cannot do anything with them. It has to come with some certain requirements and certifications. So for local, yes, you do whatever you have to do to survive internally. But for Canada, in this specific production, this specific product, it comes with a lot of paperwork. So right now, the only country who's providing Canada with this kind of equipment, once again, is China. But China had to certificate their companies. The government did that for them, because the government is putting a lot of money into that. And in US, the rest of countries, nobody's going to be able to send anything here, especially for medical uses. Any other question, comment, opinion? You want to share something else with me? I don't know, Olga, you want to say something?
Well, thank you, Maria. Do you think you'll finish your part for today?
I think so, because gender is coming.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see you all tomorrow, because tomorrow I will give you more ideas. I will give you more ways to look for buyers, websites that you can look for buyers, how to search. I will share with you my experience looking for buyers, and how do I find buyers, basically. How do I write to buyers to produce any effect, to make any effect. So tomorrow will be more practical. Today was more into the paperwork, you know, the studies that you have to make, the homework that you have to make before. Tomorrow I will give you a little bit more hands-on, as I said from the beginning, so you can have all that information. And I hope you tomorrow can give me more questions and share with me more ideas. Right now the project is still going. I am preparing agendas with buyers, and Olga will let you know more about that and about the possibility of participation and taking this advantage, because we only have until October, I believe, September, October. and we're trying to help you as much as possible. And we want you to succeed. We want you to be able to keep working. So whatever you need, and I am here for you. And tomorrow we'll see you. And thank you once again. Thank you for being on time and being patient with this presentation. This is the first time I don't see anybody. Basically, it's very annoying, very difficult. I was waiting to see all the faces here, but no, I don't see anybody. So I appreciate your time and your patience, and I hope you learned something.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much. That was a great day today with you. And I think everyone would be more active tomorrow and prepare their homework for more creative questions for you regarding the possibilities, because it's really great opportunity. I would say unique to talk to a real Canadian expert in apparel. And if you have some ideas regarding experts to Canada, so that the best chance to ask your questions or to share your thoughts or to receive some feedback from the expert. Thank you, Maria. Thank you.
Thank you.
And see you
So
tomorrow.
I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I know.
Пані Віра, чи ви готові вже долучитися до презентації?
Vera, are you already ready to join our presentation? We would like to offer you a presentation from our expert on gender issues, Ms. Vera Borovska, because it's also concerning the export to Canada on how the Canadians consider of what we believe to be normal in marketing and advertisement. And also we have a lot of exclusive material that might be slightly shocking for people who have not been prepared or who not be aware of this issue before. Vera, can you hear us? Can you hear us well? Can you see my presentation? Yes, please. Can you see my presentation? Yes, we can see your presentation. You just, if you can make it full screen, that would be perfect. Okay, I can't do that full screen. Just press F5. Yes, just a second. I will try to do that. So good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to be the part of this virtual room, and we have a very interesting topic today, the gender-sensitive marketing as the main demand for the Canadian customers. How did we come up with this topic? Just as well as you are looking for buyers in Canada, and just as well as you're going to the site and looking for the people who can be your possible partners, just as well, those people are also following you. They're also checking up whether you represent your product in a good way, whether you have the advertisements for that. And then there is a good understanding for us how we present our products, whether our feelings and ideas correspond to the feelings of the Canadian buyers and Canadian customers. Why there's such a big difference in how we present the products and how the Canadians' perceptions of the product. That is why, because there with the gender-sensitive commercials advertisement, they started for quite before. We only had our legislation on advertisement in 1996, but in Canada, they already had the National Advertisement Code in 1957 that regulated the standards of advertisement. If we speak about the standards for commercials, that have been approved in 2011, as well as we had the Committee for Advertisement, that is also the informational self-regulated body. That is why we see that we have 54 years of difference between us and Canada. And there is a big difference of how we and how they believe that the right picturing should be, so how the right depiction of the project should be in place. So when we are speaking of advertisement and advertisement, we're going to be referring those gender standards that have already been used by us and that have already been very usual for Canadians for more than 50 years already. So thus, the commercial should not depict man or a woman as an accessory. It should also exclude any hints on sexual relationship and should not treat the sexuality of people, of a person, if this commercial does not offer you a product that can be offered you in a specific way. Like, for example, if there is the swimming suits advertisement that of course you cannot advertise this product with a fully dressed lady. The other thing that how you're going to show this woman's body in a swimming suit. So either you're going to show, either going to be showed a lady to buy, or you're going to be offered a swimming suit. So we have to, when we take a look at the conversation, at the commercials by our swimsuit producers, we see the models selling themselves. We do not see the swimming suit itself behind the model and the sexualized posing of the model that demonstrates it. Then there is also a violation if the depiction of a person has been described in the undermining manner through picture or words. So what are the specific traces of the discriminatory advertisement? If we will get back to all of these definitions, then we can see that it's quite easy. First of all, using nudity when it has nothing to do to the product that has been advertised, treating a person as a good that can be managed, and emphasizing and depicting gender stereotypes. This is our weak point because basically the whole part of our society still believe that a woman has to be the managing the house, then the man has to the one who provides for the housing, and there's no opportunity how both of them can be working, having a job, and working together, even though this is how it usually is being done. So both of them are trying to self-actualize in their profession, and based on the common logic, they should share their home duties to support their household. The advertisement can be discriminative, and we will take a look at these examples. And I do believe that people of Kiev, maybe some other people can also recall this kind of advertisements. You can see that on the right there is an advertisement of a couple years old, and on the right that there is an advertisement of the recent years. I like it when she's heating up. That is a very dubious message, and it's a very dubious posing for the fuels and the car station, the fuel station. There is another very dubious advertisement, like she will succumb to you, and we can also consider advertisement a discriminative if it once again proclaims the stereotype roles that undermine the life choice of a person. For example, if we will take a look at the pictures here, then you can see the boy and a girl, and you can see a boy. You can see the girl, and her T-shirt reads the nurse internship, and the boy has doctor internship. So basically that is not very specific situation, because basically in most of the shops we have a lot of women. And on the other hand, when we're speaking about the main executing positions and managing positions, or when we're speaking about those spheres as surgeries or traumatology, then we believe that why this stereotype doesn't work for the women's sake, because we know there's not a lot of women in these spheres of medicine. It also has a very different example that has been published at a British site of apparel. You can see that picture on the left. There is a boy with Alfred Einstein, and there is the small signature that says little scientist, and there is the girl on the right, and there's also said that she's a little princess. So basically this advertisement has caused a lot of backfire in the network, in the web, and it also backfired really badly. Another picture I wanted to present you, the picture that also corresponds to something that we've discussed before. On the left, you can see that there is an advertisement by Dolce & Gabbana brand, and there is the physical violence demonstrated. You can see that they used the set, and on the right we also see the advertisement for the men's apparel. This is a commercial by Tom Ford brand, when they're using the women body as a sexualized object. What are the tools that are being used in advertisement that multiply this gender insensitivity. The first is the machism, which is one of the ways to express sexism when you emphasize the male domination over female. And in this case, we can see the traditional masculinity, like physical power or physical prevalence, and sexual violence, as usually men are depicted in this kind of advertisement or notifications. The second style is sexism. You have seen this advertisement. This is the tiles, the ceramic tiles, and you see the woman here, and we already have seen that like most of the attention goes to her breasts. So sexism in the mass culture presupposes that there is a slight difference, a very significant difference in how you depict men and women in advertisement. If men are going to be depicted as people who are responsible for their decisions, who are thinking, doing most of the mental work, then when you depict women, then you usually have all the attention only to the specific parts of the body. And when we are working on preparing the high quality materials to show it to the Canadian buyers, we have to pay attention to the main things and the main sensitive issues. There's going to be the roles and positioning, the context, roles and positioning. Before will you will approve the specific images, we have to understand whether this commercial avoids the stereotypes of whether, like, for example, women are responsible for cooking food or household matters, and whether you are omitting in your depiction those stereotypical roles, like girls playing dolls, boys playing cars. In the same things, we have this classical example of violating both of those positions. If, for example, we take a look at this picture and you see there's something like we have the Mr. Proper, this is like Mr. Clean, you see that there is a daughter and a mother on the right, and they're looking at this cleanness of some surfaces, and the title says that's Mother's Day. So at the Mother Days, get back to work, that really matters. So basically, the cleaning of the house, it is the most important thing for the life of some certain person. But also to avoid depicting man as the head of the household. So we see two violations at these pictures. There's also this Hong Kong brand, Giordano, and you can see that the T-shirt on the man says works and the woman's T-shirt says cook. And on the right, you can see the reactions of the social media on this commercial. The visual representation, whether you have representation of women as loyal, sensitive, and whether it creates the stereotypical approach to the peculiarities of the women character. I would like to say that this new commercials, there is a big frog leap to that towards the depiction, because the society used to have this changes, like, because before that we had doubts whether the lady can open the ketchup bottle. So on the right, you can see a completely different example. We're actually doubting whether the lady can drive the car. So without the, for example, the automatic gear, and there is advertisement for the car, change your gear for the automatic just to make you drive better. And also a couple of other examples of the visual representations. And I'm very positive to Julia Roberts, and I really like this picture, and I wanted just to show you how the image can be manipulated, whether the appearance of the women's or man's body has been manipulated. And on the right, you can see the advertisement. I don't remember which brand was that. There was some kind of a makeup brand, and on the right, that CNN says that Julia Roberts, it is the way that Julia Roberts looks like. But if you will compare the left and right pictures, then you will see that they have specific differences. You have added additional colors and it has been brushed. And on the right, you see the picture that goes against the main regulations, whether it avoids nudity, whether it avoids the overall principle, and it actually makes the women depiction that's undermining. Language and context, whether the advertisement is avoiding the jokes on the sex representation, sexuality, or stereotypes. You can see the Nestle bar commercial on the left. It has been positioning itself as an advertisement for the mostly male audience, and then when appeal to women, they say you got the vote and be happy with that. So like you will not have the chocolate bar then. And on the right, you see the commercial for the new brand of wine that has been issued a couple of years ago for the Ukrainian markets, and you see that there is also the very specific advertisement because that's a dubious meaning example. So like taste the bush, it's once again tasting something new, and in the same time it's referring to bush, that's referencing to basically women intimate body parts. And if you will take a look at where the glass is located, you will understand that this advertisement is not gender sensitive. Language is also, and context is very important thing. Another important example, there was the social advertisement campaign, and it has been launched by one of the Canadian cities in order to decrease the amount of litter on the streets. You can see the man on the left, and you can see that the logo, this motto reads, "Bin your litter." This is the smartest thing you can do. And there is on the right, there is a lady, and the slogan is a very different one. Bin your litter. It's a pretty quick thing to do. So there is the smart and it's pretty. That's what the words that are emphasized, and that's the words are bolded. So this is gender insensitive commercial. And if we were speaking about one of the main guideline principles, let us get back to the commercials with children, then one of the main principles says that the overall vision perception of the advertisement should not violate the gender equality spirit, even if some of the elements are not violating any other specific rules. So what does it mean that if we're looking at this little boy, and with what we see, if we take a look a separate view on the image of the girl, it's not that bad also, even though, you know, social butterfly is not a very good depiction, not as we want to see our daughters maybe. In the same time, both of the images can exist, but when we are branding the clothes for a boy or for the future scholar and scientist, that we also should have a girl there, and those clothes also should be referring to some level of dignity. So if we have the very
отакі непорівнянні речі. Якщо ми говоримо про канадський ринок, то
and if we're going to be speaking about the Canadian,
які одна інституція приймає скаргу на сексизм в рекламі, це регіональні ради турботи і захисту споживачів, і ви бачите.
And if we're speaking about the connection between the customers, you see here those three addresses that you can direct your inquiries if you would like to check out the Canadian market. We're speaking about using the code. If we're speaking about using the code of the advertisement principles, then you can also notice
принципів реклами і отримати відповідь. У нас є подібні інституції, які приймають скарги на сексизм. Це Державна служба України з питань безпечності харчових продуктів. Це є та інституція, про яку я згадувала, індустріально-гендерний комітет з реклами. Це є Національна рада з питань телебачення і радіомовлення. Вона може назначати штрафи, тому що індустріальний комітет з реклами, вони тільки можуть порекомендувати тому чи іншому бізнесу, чи рекламному бізнесу зняти рекламу. І коли бізнес не відгукується, вони тоді передають скаргу далі. А ось Національна рада має право.
That we can also ask the specific councils then to turn to these businesses, and there's also additional NGOs, like for example, female organizations. You could also address them, and they will also consider your inquiries on whether you believe that the commercials that you have seen has been sexist. But what is the danger of the sexist advertisement? Why are we actually discussing this topic right now? The sexist advertisement, especially if it has been repeated, it creates a sexualized image of the woman's body. What's the problems with that? It means that this image, it's only enforces the negative stereotypes. It also normalizes violence and sexual exploitation. And you know, in Ukraine, we always hearing that about this fear, and we're discussing this topic quite firmly now. And it's not only we are discussing not only for decriminalization of the sexual work and stuff, and also this kind of commercials influence the self-evaluations and the confidence of the teenagers. We believe that sometimes the advertisement is unnoticed by our brain, but our brains, they have the habit of consuming all of the information. Even if we don't pay this additional attention, it's still being perceived by our brains. And on this lovely note, I would like to wrap up my presentation, and I would like to wish you all the best, and to have all the best gender sensitive images in your catalogs. Thank you very much.